Hi everyone, how's everyone doing here today? Just wanted to say thank you for watching, and today I wanted to talk about a Drag Story Hour event that I went to. And there were some pictures that I did post it, and I'm sure some people out there will have some questions and have their own thoughts on it. Like, why would I do that? Why would I go to such an event like that? Part of me was a little bit curious, given it's such a hot topic in the political arena as of lately. So, the big thing is, what is it that goes on at these events, and like how they are grooming and sexualizing children? Well, when I was there, you wouldn't believe what I saw. I mean, they were just talking about sex and doing all these weird things, and then there were some lap dances for the parents that were there, and the little kids were putting dollars in the G-string. No, I'm being sarcastic. I just made all that stuff up. What I did see was one individual, a drag person, a man dressed up like a woman in a rather flamboyant mermaid-themed costume, and she was reading to the children. Children's books, you know, with the parents there in this like open coffee house, and all the kids were laughing, enjoying the stories. They were probably books you would find at any bookstore or online at Amazon. I don't know of the titles off the top of my head. I wasn't paying that close attention. But from what he was explaining, like, there was one book which was about glitter, which can be a lot of fun when sprinkling it around. Not so much fun during cleanup, but still fun nonetheless. And also things about, self-esteem, about friendship, about treating each other equally, regardless of, your gender or the color of your skin, that sort of thing. And overall, the kids were laughing and having a pretty good time. There was nothing sexualizing being done. There was nothing erotic. There was no grooming. There was none of this other nonsense that you hear from a lot of politicians, primarily on the right, that just love to stir up controversy by gaslighting and spreading misinformation. So, honestly, for people who are buying into this, I don't understand what the big deal is. I really don't, because keep in mind, and drag shows have been around for years. Drag reading, I don't know if it goes that far back, but it's been going on before. It's not like some phenomenon that started about a month ago. So why all the hate? Why all this talk about it? About, rumors and misinformation about, grooming the kids and everything. I don't know if they're doing in schools. This one was at a coffee house. I've heard about it done at libraries. And when they were there talking about it, some of the members that helped organize the event, they talked about how past events Proud Boys have showed up, and they had to shut it down. That's something you might think, oh good, but what? There's nothing wrong going on there. And the simple truth of the matter is that all this gaslighting is not a result of any concern for the children. It is about bigotry. That is all that it is. They are hateful towards people in drag, they are hateful towards LGBTQs, and they are especially hateful towards transgender. Which, by the way, during these books, there was no discussion of transgender that I saw. I wasn't paying that close attention, but there wasn't any mention of that. It was all about just positive messaging towards the children, trying to educate them. That's what it's primarily off about. Education in an entertainment-like fashion. The costume is a little flamboyant and unusual looking, sure. And maybe that's, that's something not your forte. That's fine. But don't look at it and give in to believe all this misinformation that's being spread out, because then it's not about the truth. It is about bigotry. It's about trying to gaslight people just so they can get people to hate each other. And that's the same thing that applies not just to the media, but to certain hate groups, like the Proud Boys and any other groups out there that feel the need to discriminate. It ain't right. How do I know? Because in the end, if you really think about it, and I've talked about this in previous videos, these people do not care about the children. They don't. You really think they do? Well, let's give me some examples. Recently, there was a school shooting in Tennessee, I believe it was, unfortunately. Yes, another school shooting, where children were killed. And when you compare this to all other school shootings, I'm willing to bet anything, we're going to see the same pattern of events. Not to get off topic, but it's going to go into thoughts and prayers and controversy and, Second Amendment rights. Suddenly it's not about the kids, it's about rights. And, they'll talk about legislation, but then, you'll get a lot of gun enthusiast saying, "You ain't coming for my guns." No. And shortly afterwards, it'll settle down, all the controversy, and then nothing will change. The people who so claim to care about children, they could try and pass gun legislation. They can try and take courses of action to prevent or reduce the number of shootings, but they don't. Why? Because they're in the pocket of gun lobbyists. Because when push comes to shove, that blood money pays heavily, and they like that. So guess what? They don't care about the kids. Otherwise, they would do something about that. Then it becomes more, not just the Second Amendment. The other thing they don't mind infringing upon is free speech. Drags reading to children kind of falls under free speech. And here's the thing to keep in mind. It's not like it's mandatory. You don't have to bring your child to these events if you don't believe in that. I get that. These parents chose to do so, and they had fun with it. There was no outrage. There was nothing bad going on. There were no counter-protesters. So, again, it's like, what's with all this hatred? Why all of a sudden they have an issue with them? And to be honest with you, I really don't know. You could ask them or ask some of the people who buy into this nonsense, but you're not going to get a straight answer. Here's another thing that is also a threat. And unfortunately, it's sexualization towards children by clergymen. And I could go on Google and document a whole bunch of incidents that have happened. Some recent, some that go years back. And all these politicians, all these folks in the media that like to gaslight you, who once again, claim they are all about the children. I don't see them doing much about that either. You don't see the Proud Boys going to churches and protesting. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful towards religion. I have my own faith, and I respect other people's faith and the freedom of religion. This is not about that. And clearly, not all clergymen are like that. But the ones that are need to be held accountable, and the ones that aid them, that help keep them in circulation because, it's a certain loyalty or a close friend, they need to be held accountable as well. But you don't hear that from the media. No, they're too busy worrying about the grooming of children and everything. And if some of them were watching this, they would look at me and say, "Oh, clearly I've gone woke." Of course they're going to say that. What else are they going to say? They can't come to weird facts. They, don't have any data to back it up. How many children have died from drag show readings? None. How many died from firearms? Too many. Way too many. Little squirrel. But in the end, like I said, they will do nothing. Because why? They do not care about the children. I don't think they ever have. It's all about gaslighting. It's all about distracting from the real issues. It is cultural issue hypocrisy, which we've seen over and over, not just with this, but with other things as well. And the usual, let me hold up this shiny object to distract you from some of the real issues that you should be focusing on, that they should be focusing on, and they're not. And I don't think they ever will. It's just about staying in power. It's just about spreading their hate. It is just about, bigotry and nothing more. So, and I will say, just to be fair, there are some parents who would prefer not to take their children to a drag event. I get it. Maybe they feel the child is too young to be learning these things. They're going to learn of it eventually, but maybe they don't want it learning it at the age of 3 or 5. And that I get. And if they're doing it more because, they prefer to educate their child a certain way, that's fine. I'm not going to tell any parent how they should raise their child. But if they're doing it out of bigotry, then they're doing it for the wrong reasons. They're going to do it regardless of what I say or what people can prove. But, I would at the very least say do it for the right reasons. As far as drag shows go, some bring them to that. And again, that's their choice. That's their freedom to choose how to raise their child. There's nothing really wrong with it. Again, these drag things are more about flamboyant entertainment. I don't really see so much eroticism going on. And you also see it in public parades and stuff like that. You parents have the right to choose not to take them to those events if you prefer your children not to be exposed to that at such a young age. They can choose. And that is fine. That is the way it should be. But don't feed into this whole bigotry like, we gotta hate all the people in drag and stuff. Already, certain lawmakers are passing laws to, ban drugs altogether. I don't have any specific examples, but if you can Google it, you'll find a whole bunch of examples going around. And it ain't going to stop, until we start sending a message that this is not the problem. Guns are the problem. There are other things that are a far greater threat to children that have been proven and that they do nothing about. So it boils down to, if you're a politician or a lawmaker, you really care about children, then address the real issues. Prove it that you really care about children. Remember the Proud Boys? You want to do something to protect the kids? Speak out against the guns. Speak out against the bad clergy. Not religion, just the clergymen that are doing the wrong thing. Push on to programs and charities. It's like I talked about in the previous video about We the People. The Proud Boys have no problem going to a drag event to be disruptive. But deep down, do they really care about the kids? I don't think so. They could do a charity where they try and raise money and provide free lunches for kids that are struggling in poverty, their families, or where the houses are food insecure, as they like to put it. But you don't see them doing anything like that. And bills in the past have been passed, and a lot of these people on the right that so claim to care about the children, they have voted against it. They should pull them up by the bootstraps. It's socialism. It is nonsensical hypocrisy, and again, they don't care about the children. So it's about time some of you start accepting the reality and voting out the people that really don't care, that are just trying to gaslight and spread bigotry, because that is something we don't need. It's not patriotic. And I'm thinking about the children. So, anyway, thank you for watching. I really hope you understand.